I'm so excited to sit down with you today because we talk all the time.
Yes.
This is Falyn Fonoimoana, and she's been playing beach volleyball. She's been coaching, and congrats on the North Seco win.
Thank you
second
so
place
much.
the other
Yeah,
day.
so much fun.
Get to travel and hit some good spots.
Exactly.
Where are you going?
The first one will be in Aguas Calientes in Mexico. Next one will be Cayman Islands, Nicaragua, and then Cuba, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, there's so many stories.
So many
those
great
Cuban
things
stories
in Cuba
that-
I've heard. So
Yeah, there are some amazing stories that come out of that place.
I'm gonna have to write them down
So,
for me.
yeah, no, I've never met a Cuban immigrant that doesn't
You
have
didn't like
a super inspiring, cool story. So
Love
yeah,
that.
and
I love
that
that.
it's been so locked up down there. It's so cool to get to travel and see that.
And all the history down
Yeah.
there is what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's supposed to
Definitely.
be amazing. Obviously, I've never been, but it's been
You
kind
might
of
have to come
difficult.
down then.
Yeah,
Might have to come
absolutely.
down with me.
So, this is beach volleyball, and we could cut to the chase first of all. But like, you're doing all that traveling; it's
Yes.
expensive. Have you? And I think I saw that you started a GoFundMe.
I started a GoFundMe just basis off of, having about 3 weeks to get everything together between flights, hotel, food, just for Mexico. And then the week after we get back from Mexico, that week. So we get back on the 22nd, and on the 24th we travel to the Cayman Islands. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like one after the other. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of, reaching out to family and friends, reaching out to the volleyball community, anyone that can really help us in that, instant, because, it ends up being, over $2,000, $3,000 easily.
And you
And
just found out.
We just found out.
Yeah.
We just qualified
Yeah.
2 days ago. So, trying to be organized and getting all that together is something where, we started the GoFundMe just because it could reach so many people on different platforms.
Quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've been a big fan and promoter of Falyn's because I've just been so inspired by the way she plays, by the way she coaches. She's been an awesome influence on my kids from the time she coached with Kate,
Yes.
and then she coached my other daughter, and both of them they thrived. And you're a leader, and I was drawn to that. And so we started talking,
Yes,
and
we did.
that's kind of the idea behind the Optimist Journal is just that generational learning and what we can learn as we go through life and embrace hard things and what we learn from those challenges. And I've seen you do that, and I think it shows in the way you play. And I'm just wondering, like, you've been playing volleyball for a long time, but over the years the motivation's changed, I can imagine. Right?
Definitely, coming from, playing volleyball in high school and in college, it's just, the honor part of it, the grind, and, now becoming an adult, now I'm 27, I have a son who's 6 years old, adulthood is, kicking in, so a lot of things shift, and a lot of things that, that were important before aren't important anymore. And I feel like I represent a little bit more because I coach so many kids, because I put so much pressure on myself to be more responsible in my role in people's lives, and also just to make sure that, I want to show what the grind really is. It's not all glitz and glamour, sometimes you got to go through the dark to get to the light. And, a lot of people don't want to show that. They just want to show, like, oh, look at me, win, win, win. And they don't know, like, what it took to get to the win, 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 It's all, glitz and glamour, but the most important part is, like, what are the steps I need to take to get there? So I feel that, like, I share that with my kids a lot. And sometimes they're like, you're so mean. I'm like, look, this is what the real world is. And it's more of like the tough love part, it's gonna be tough, but you gotta instill that love, which is so huge. As long as they know that, you have that love for them, and then they're really gonna work for you.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and you're reminding me of that Michael Phelps commercial of like what you do in the dark is what shows in the light.
Exactly.
And it's absolutely true. And
Yes.
it's also baby steps, right? I mean,
a bunch of them.
the whole concept of instant gratification in this generation and thinking that like I'm gonna be great,
Yeah.
like tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
it's to know that we're always getting better, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I learn things from watching my kids play that I am still so grateful, like, to be out there and go, I watched this yesterday, or I'll be out at a practice and listening to like people who play so much better than me and will always, because I'm 44 and but I get out there and I'm so grateful that I can still move my body and get to play.
Exactly.
And it's like, people don't realize it's a gift for a lifetime, no matter what level you play at. But you have to have those lessons, right?
Exactly.
It's the little things that make you love it.
Totally.
And if you don't love those little things, you'll never get the result. Like
Exactly.
you gotta want to, there's gonna be pain involved. And I think, in this generation, sometimes that's a hard lesson to learn.
Definitely.
And I think that with my own kids, I feel like they're born with so much. And I think sometimes sports might be the hardest thing that they have going for them.
Yeah.
Which we all know in life, that doesn't stay that way, right?
No.
So to get that perspective, like I do think when my kids play, I want someone who is instilling that. And I always liked that about you.
I appreciate that.
Another thing I really think that you represent well is just this idea of beauty and like body confidence. And for young women and even older women, like, there's a type that, you get typecast.
Definitely.
And you've always kind of been outside that typecast. I mean, being as tall as you are.
Exactly.
And, what advice would you give girls and even women?
I mean, the first thing that you have to remember is that like God gave you this body, and in His eyes it's perfect to Him. And whether or not you want to believe it or not, you could deny it for a little while. This is the genetics you have, and you can try and change it all you want. But the number one thing for girls is that you have to be around people that build you up. That's where this self-confidence instilled in you. I was so blessed enough to have a mom that was so strong. I was blessed enough to have friends that always told me, like, you are who you are, be who you are. And, we would, have jokes and stuff, and that became my family. And, playing volleyball for so long, obviously, like, I have the curvy side. I have, I'm obviously, African-American Samoan, and I'm 6'4", so, like, I just have a lot of things that are just so different out of the stereotype that, like, I can't hide who I am, and, I am a lot calmer than I used to be. I used to be a little bit more fiery than I am now.
I've heard that, because I've always known the calm side.
Yeah, I was a little bit fiery when I was younger, or a lot more, I should say. Now, I let it come out in my play, because that's just who I am. I love to embrace moments and everything, but, especially for young girls and stuff, and I coach 16-year-old girls right now, like, I just tell them, like, stop hurting each other, stop, talking about each other, stop doing that. Like, as young girls, we like to gossip and stuff, but the hardest thing is with social media, with all this other stuff, is like this image of, an Instagram model or this and that is just not reality,
Right.
And for me, I may portray some of the things of like being confident enough, but everyone has self-confidence issues. It's just how you portray yourself, how you believe in yourself, and what inside you believe. And that comes from that core of people, your family, your friends, that are always going to be there for you. You always surround yourself with people that are going to build you.
Choose wisely.
Exactly.
Right.
And sometimes the best thing is, you choose a friend that you thought was there for you, and they're totally mean to you. You're like, I learned from that. That's not my true friend.
Yeah.
They put me down more than anything else. That's not what I want in my life.
Yeah.
So, a lot of, trial and error in my life, especially. And I think a huge part was also having my son at a young age. I, was supposed to be in my prime of like everything, and I had my baby, and all of a sudden I had to get my body back and, find my confidence, find, what I thought was beautiful. Every woman goes through that. So, whether it's at 20, whether it's at 30, finding yourself at your own time is super important.
It is. And I can vouch for that. I go back to, I was a pretty young mom, at 25 and then 27 when I had my second, and I remember thinking like other people are out doing stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, as much as you love those babies more than anything.
Exactly.
But you see, and to wrap that all around, and now I sit here today and go, I am so grateful to have the energy I have today, to be where I am and have these grown-up kids that I get to enjoy. But yeah, a lot goes into that.
Yeah, your friends are out partying while you barely took a shower that day. You
Yeah.
know, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like contrast. Like,
Totally.
I barely took a shower. My son's fed and he's sleeping right now. But you guys are out having a good time. Love you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah, it definitely
priorities
changes things.
for sure.
But that could be a good thing for an athletic career too,
Definitely,
right? I mean,
definitely.
like regulating,
Yeah,
like anything
I'm
that
not a
regulates.
partier at all. I don't really stay up late, and you know, if I go out, it's like having a good time with your friends, and it's like, okay, guys, enjoy the night. I'm gonna go to sleep
Yeah.
now because I have stuff to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also your body's used to going through multiple things instead of like, oh, I got 5 things done. Let's go to happy hour. Like, no, we got 5 more
There's
other things
always
to do.
5 more things.
5 more
yeah.
things to do on this list. So.
I always say my to-do list hasn't been checked off since
No.
I was 20.
Yeah, I agree. It
Yeah.
keeps growing. You
Yeah.
keep trying to check it off.
Yeah.
So.
So, when you play, this is something I'm discovering. I have my younger one. He has he's kind of a nervous energy kid, a lot of like attention issues, and so I've learned a lot about the nervous system.
Got it.
And what I've learned through him, like I've learned to like take out on the court, and as I come down and like kind of come to terms with so many things in my life, I feel myself like relax, and I can play better. Like, do you ever feel like, what do you feel like on the court? Are you like amped up? Are you calm? Do you use your fiery side but feel that calm inside?
Yeah.
Or like,
It's really hard for me. So like once my fire's on, it's really hard for me to turn it off. And since I've been playing with my new partner, Nicolette Martin, she is like my match of the fire. Like she screams just as loud as I do. She's like, she'll go and throw sand and like, I thrive off that. But what I had to learn, especially in this Norseca, was like, I would scream, get a major block, and then all of a sudden it's my serve, and my adrenaline is like here. And I think I'm just like touching the ball so lightly, and it sails across, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta start breathing. I gotta start, you know, it's a never-ending battle.
I told you gotta come to
Yes,
yoga with me.
I do. It's that emotional thing where like, for me, like I can always like put spurts of it, but with her, when she's screaming consistently, I'm like, yeah, I gotta scream too, and then it just builds up. I gotta start finding that, but it's also the emotional part of the game too. You know, you can't always be on the same level during the game, but for me, I have to really, especially during like timeouts or switching sides and stuff. You know, Priscilla Lima always taught me the power of breath. Like she always was like, okay, when we walk across this court, you're gonna take 5 deep breaths. And it's not going to be fast ones. You're going to feel it all the way in your diaphragm. Push it all out. So people are like, are you exhausted? I'm like, no, I'm just breathing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something
Isn't it amazing?
It's crazy. And then, you know, at the finals, you know, I finally, of Norseca, I finally got my breath after screaming my head off. I finally found it. But it's like, it's a battle. You got to find at what moment am I going to put this emotion out? When am I going to retract it? When am I going to be focused? And you know, another thing is routine. I have to continue my routine. I'm a routine person. I'm superstitious, all of those things in order to get what I need done emotionally, physically, all of that. And if it, you know, I also had to learn to let go because sometimes if my routine was ruined, I'd be like, oh my God, this is not happening. I have to start over. But, you know, as you get older, you gotta let it go.
Such good lessons.
Yeah, you just gotta figure it out slowly but surely. Each tournament, each day, each year, what works for you, who you're playing with too. You know, I hate to say this, that I now have put on the role as I guess a veteran. You know, in a sense, because I've had a lot of young kids that I've played with. At 27, but I played with Priscilla Lima, who is the veteran, who is the legend and everything. So my role completely changed, and I didn't feel nervous, but I always felt a sense of like, I have to do this for her. Like, she's telling me what to do, she's telling me what and I gotta execute. And that was extra pressure I put on myself, which I thrived in, but it was a whole different role I wasn't used to. So the emotion side is just, you know, something that you got to continuously fight through, and you got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Yeah. That's something that like is so cliche, but that's
and
how
finding that calm when
the
you're
calm, exactly, the calm and the uncomfortables. Yeah. You're like, are you sure this is okay? You know,
this is a game of life kind of thing, and this is what I love because what I learned, you know, you learn it on the court and then you take it into your life.
Definitely.
It works.
Definitely.
It works at everything.
Definitely.
So, what would be your best advice that you would give to a younger player today?
The best advice I would give a younger player would embrace what's going on right now. Don't try and grow up too fast. Don't try and predict the future. Like, take each moment in each tournament that you're going into as a lesson, as an opportunity, because I feel like a lot of these kids get overwhelmed with these kids are sophomores in high school and they're worried about what's going to happen in college, so they're missing out on things that are happening right now. So take your time, be patient, embrace the moment, because the grind right now you're gonna instill from the grind next year and after that.
Yeah.
So that's what's another important thing, is just to be patient.
And you only get one go around.
You only get one go around,
Yeah,
and I wish I
for
could
sure.
go back.
Yeah. So what's next?
Next for me is obviously Norseca's.
Yeah.
I want to go to some big 3, 4, 5 stars if I can in FIVB. That's a huge goal for me, and this is
That's another big budget item.
big budget item right there. But I gotta lay the foundation, especially early on in this season, in order to get to those, and in order to be taken seriously. I have to make sure that I continue my health and wellness. My body is my temple. I gotta make sure I do that, and obviously working and doing all this stuff, I gotta make sure I keep that balance.
Yeah.
So those are the things that right now are my review mirror, and in my front. I gotta make sure I look at both. That way I stay in the middle and do a consistent speed for everything that's gonna come my way.
Yeah, and it's a lot.
Definitely.
It's a lot. So how do we find you? Social media,
Social
what do you do
media,
these days?
you can find me on, I'm mostly on Instagram and Facebook. It's my full name, @Falyn Fonoimoana. I probably should shorten that
Yeah.
because it's really
I
hard for
think it
people to
kind of
find me.
pops up.
It
once
kind of
you
pops
start,
up once
yeah.
you put my
Yeah.
first name.
Yeah.
But same thing with Facebook. You can put my first name, FALYN, pretty easily to do
Yeah.
that. And I'm going to try and be a little bit more about my posting and stuff. I'm trying to get
I
a
think
little
you
bit
do-
more.
Yeah, you do
I'm
a great
trying-
job.
Yeah,
I get
it's one of those things of the day gets away from you, but I gotta keep reminding myself to keep people updated, because every time that I've consistently been on, not only kids but people are just telling me when you were at the gym, it made me go to the gym. And I was like, okay, I gotta keep doing that.
Yeah.
And if I touch one person per day, then I'm
Yeah.
doing my job.
I saw
that's
you
just-
that day. I told
Yes,
you I didn't want to
yes,
be there.
yeah.
I was like, oh, thank you.
Exactly. It's
yeah.
reinforcement that you're doing your purpose. You're
Yeah.
doing what you need to do for your body. So
Yeah, and there's nothing that feels better than taking care of yourself.
exactly.
You know?
True.
So, and then you can take care of other people.
Exactly.
So, you do an amazing job with
I
that.
appreciate
Keep
that.
it up.
Thank you.
Love watching you. So,